guess it's being able to associate the things that I feel are about good coffee into a cold drink, which I sort of never normally do.
Oh, nice. I don't like, ramen. I know ramen in winter, like the best time to have ramen, right? When it comes in summer, you're like, oh, I'm not sure about that. And then when you're drinking cold coffee in the morning on a cold day, not so much.
Yeah. So tell me about it,
mate. This is my little project.
I'm dying to hear about this.
So I've been warming it up. It's on gas, so it's been. You can see down there.
Yep. You get your line in, yeah.
Can you see down there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
So line in when the Sparky arrived, I was like, do I have to like how? Because obviously it's all about the airflow that comes out and then all the stuff that goes out, right? But all the fumes and whatever. So he's like, oh, does that work? I'm like, I don't know. They tell us not to use it, and he goes, mate, you could just put a pipe down there and it goes straight up. And he's fully tested it, and he's gone, so
sweet as.
So all the fumes go up the chimney. Yeah. Because I was getting worried that I was going to have to, because you have to buy these proper setups to go out of the street.
Yeah, no.
And he goes, no, mate, just go straight up the chimney. I'm like, who would have thought?
Yeah. Well, I mean, whoever built chimneys. So that's what it's for. So. That's fantastic. So this is a 1.5 kilo roaster. Yep. I bought it from the guys in Queensland. It's a custom. Yep. So that means you can roast up to about 2.5 kilo each go. And then it's just science, mate. It's like making bacon and eggs, really, with a lot more precision. Yeah. So I have roasted so this is where this is where my UX brain just goes into overload. So we were talking about out there about varietal farm, how it's grown, processed. Yeah. Now you've smelt different coffees. Yeah. So did you notice that different coffees that I showed you had obviously different density, different size, different smell, different right? So then you put altitude into that play. Yeah. So to profile coffee, you have to be aware of where the coffee comes from, how it's been processed, right? Yeah. So high altitude, low altitude. So then this is where it just goes like absolutely nuts. Certain coffees require a certain amount of temperature at a certain amount of, length of temperature to be able to get the flavor out. Right. So, for example, if I was to drop a whole bunch of another piece of complexity, did you know that the ambient temperature of the room affects the coffee? Right. No. So like if I'm going to, so I drop this coffee at 180 degrees. Yeah. But if the ambient temperature is like cold today, I'll drop it a bit higher. Yeah. Right. To be able to get the bounce back and the tipping point. So again, super complex when it comes to like how do you get a really good coffee out of a cup. And how much do those tweaks are noticeable in the cup?
Like millimeter, like seconds. Yeah, right. And so this product, it's called Artisan. It's a charting product. It's all connected to the roaster. And essentially, because I've profiled this coffee so many times and I've played it, I've played with it. I'll bring up the chart and I'll follow the chart. Yeah. In terms of gradient of rate of rise. Yeah. So that I don't know when to drop it. Yeah. So I'm absolutely not doing it blind, but I do love, like I said earlier, we can just pick a bean and I can just wing it to get something out of it. I mean, I've roasted enough to kind of understand where a bean should be dropped, or what rate of rise to do. Yeah. But because I want to give you the pink Barty, I'll follow a made earlier. Well, I've just roasted earlier and I know that works. There it is. All right, so that's the profile I'm going to follow.
Okay.
You can see there, I've dropped it at 194.
Yep.
So I'm just going to pick it up. So this here is the air,
Yeah.
and this is also just micro air adjustments. So I'm just going to reduce the air to get more heat in the drum. I'm just going to start it, and I'm just going to give it, so yeah, it's just tracking in. But mate, it's been a while. I haven't seen you. Well, last time we went out for a few pizzas and
it was
got a little bit tipsy.
A little bit.
A little bit tipsy. So a bit of man time down at the local Frankie's. But
Which is going to get knocked down.
Is it really?
Yeah. So the new train line. I think 12 months time.
Shit. That's such a good place.
Yeah.
Good pizza.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. There were some good chats.
Any new developments?
Not really.
Work-wise? Or?
Yeah, no, work's really good. It's funny how to take a new job that's kind of adjacent to the old job, but so you've got all those skills, so you kind of, there's a level of confidence going into it. You've clearly been hired for a skill set, so there's no imposter syndrome kicking in. But then you've got a completely different set of factors in terms of new people, and you know, there's things that you've done in the past that you know work, but you can't just impose that on anybody. You've got to be able to take them on the journey.
You've got to almost start from scratch.
For them, not for you.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of stuff that we're doing that I know where I need to get them in terms of the business.
Yeah.
But I've got to be so empathetic to really. It's like I remember I did teaching when I was at school.
Yeah.
When I was in year 9, I taught the year 7's art because I hated all my other classes, and the art teacher used to let me hang out in the art room. Yeah. And so she would say, "I'll teach that class that particular colour theory or whatever." And the really hard thing in teaching is forgetting what you already know and actually unpacking it all.
As if they already know.
That's right, because you've got to assume there's no base level, right?
You're a good man.
And in work, that's a really hard thing to do. And for me personally, that's massive growth, right? So
nice, good call.
4 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to handle this nearly as well, because I would have been pushing to like, no, I'm right. I've got the destination. Just come with me.
Just follow my lead.
Whereas now I know I have to take them through the steps. Like I have to show them what good looks like, but allow them to come to that realization themselves.
Yeah.
And just know that I can have all the questions that they have and answer them at the stage that they're at. So, you know, we're rolling out a new design system, so all the devs have got 1,000 questions, they're concerned, and how's it going to impact them? And so you have to explain to them that step by step by step, that eventually this is going to save you time and effort and yada yada.
Yeah. Interesting.
You can't just say, just do it.
Yeah. Actually, I quite like what you just said there, purely because I was in a meeting yesterday, and it's just like, well, you know, what do you like about, you know, large, complex environments? And I'm like, generally we get brought in to do big, complex work, and I enjoy the longer engagements.
Yeah.
Purely because it takes time to build trust.
Yeah.
With everyone in the business.
Yeah.
All the way from the board to your new junior burgers who have just started. You need to build trust.
Yeah.
Those projects you get engaged on just to go and crush something because like you've got to deliver.
Yeah.
Like no one really cares about, you know, empathy and bringing anyone. It's just like, how do we get payments working?
Yeah.
And so it's really tough to kind of do both at the same time. So yeah, good call out. Like that whole empathy piece.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that what we do has changed and continues to change. Yeah. So we've got to be, you know, a lot more hands off and, you know, imparting wisdom than And I get my hands dirty, and I love, I love just, crushing something and just going, right, here it is, it's fixed, it's done, and they're like, but how did you get there? And I'm like, well,
At the moment, we're bouncing around trying to create just the right artifact that will articulate the new vision. And a few people had a couple of goes at it. And I was kind of picking up their work and kind of enhancing it, bringing it together, listening, doing lots of listening and finding out, what's the thing they need. But what I realized a couple of weeks, I had an epiphany, at 2 a.m. that the artifact has nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter how many times we wrote, no matter how many, I've ended up trying to do a service blueprint by putting all the technology against the experience layer. So that the tech guys can see how their API or whatever is going to naturally impact. But the reality I came to was that no matter what that artifact looks like, unless everybody's buying the new vision and wanting to get to Nirvana, it doesn't matter what we show them, because they'll always be challenged by it, right? Because they'll always be standing behind their fence. And what I realized was the piece I had to do was not, the artifact's got to be there to talk to, but I had to just make sure everybody is understanding that where we're going is where we're trying to get to. And if we're not all trying to get to the same place, we can keep moving forward, but we're not going to end up there. And so,
no one's trusting the process, trusting each other. That's and that takes time, a lot of time and effort to be able to get there. Let me just bring it back to to coffee. As you can see, that's the temperature of the drum.
Right.
So for this particular profile, I've got to keep it around 12, 13. Call it the delta is the rate of rise. I know, and there's 3 stages to the coffee. So green to yellow, yellow to dry end. So green to yellow, dry end, first crack, and then we drop. So, and then you can start, we'll move around. Oh, no, stand there. Stand next to your beans, mate. Watch out. One sec. Just move my skateboard. So I'll just get you to smell it. So you smelt that coffee before. I need to do it fairly quick. So smell that.
Okay.
What does that smell like?
It's starting to get a little toasty.
So it should start getting into like hay, donuts.
That was it.
Right. And so coffee in its own green state is like mummified. The moisture is in it. When it's looked after, the moisture stays in it for a long period of time. Then when you start cooking it, roasting it, it gets to this beautiful taste, and that's where the profile. So you can extend the profile, or you can like cook it like really high, or you can continue. And so,
so is it the speed at which the temperature comes up?
And this is it.
And so, what's the difference? Is it goes up slowly as opposed to quickly?
Different profile. You're then going harshness versus not tasting like anything.
Smooth.
Like anything. Like
it kills it.
Kills it. So you can undercook a coffee or overcook it. So like you're burning it, right? And so what you want it to do is slowly bring out, like making bacon and eggs. Making bacon, you do it slowly, it tastes a lot better. Same kind of thing.
And so how much of that bean is sort of against heat?
100%.
Yeah, right. So it's all just rolling around the drum. Okay.
And then the drum is a certain speed, which I've tested. The amount of heat, the amount of air, all that sort of stuff. So I think I'm just working to dry end. It's really weird as well when I've been roasting in fairly hot environments because I mean all of summer, all of last year I kind of roasted, but I've not roasted like winter.
Right.
It's a very different way of roasting because obviously the temperature, dryness, all that stuff affects the roast profile.
Right.
So like I can see, I've not roasted this bean for maybe about a month or 2.
Right.
And temperature's changed, but see how the drop temperature? It should be there, but it's not. And this is why, again,
I'm loving this whole process is because it's always changing.
Different,
Different variety, different beans, different temperature in the room. So I'm going to call dry end. So smell this. So now it's starting to get like hay.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah. But just a little nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I can't wait to cup this with you because it'll blow your mind.
Cool.
It'll absolutely
And
blow
I
your
don't think
mind.
I've ever had this fresh either.
Well, it should degas for about a week.
Right.
I'll bag one for you. But yeah, it'll blow your mind.
Cool.
Real coffee this time.
Yeah.
No decaf. No
decaf.
Decaf business here. But yeah, I'm really looking. That's working really well. I might just give it a little bit more juice and then some more. Almost like feel like I'm like a DJ. I've been obviously been doing these videos, and then there's just me, and I'm overlaying these fat beats over the top, and I'm trying to every time I'm like using my hands with this, I'm trying to like mix it with the with the sound that's coming out, as if I'm like mixing. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I think the thing that comes across is this care factor.
Yeah.
This nurturingness of the bean.
Yeah.
That.
Look at that.
Yeah, right. So now it's tanny as opposed to the green.
Slow burn, yeah.
But still definitely in that yellow.
Yeah. The nurture, yeah. There is something about, I get the being really present, doing my thing, being allowed to do my thing is really important. Like, you know, I think for us dudes, we need to find a hobby that we can disconnect from work and family and all the shit. We've obviously got our own stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I think more importantly, like this whole coffee thing for me is making it, sourcing it, making it, but also having people enjoy it as well. It's my product. And again, it's never going to be a mass market thing. I want it to, you know, share it with friends and family. And they thought it was a gimmick in the beginning, but they're like, fuck, it's actually really good.
Yeah, 100%. No. I was, and it's funny actually. You're the second one of my friends who, over COVID, decided coffee was going to be a thing they did.
Yeah.
So another guy is up in Byron, Andy. He creative director.
Yeah.
And he's doing coffee on the side. He's doing this coffee called Wowzers.
Yeah.
And his whole thing, very similar to you in terms of very conscious of where it's coming from. But for him, it's all about aligning it to those really complex flavor things.
Yeah.
And I just found it really interesting to see two very similar creative people getting to this point where this process of understanding it from, you know, farm to cup can be an outlet for to be able to get them, you know, as you said, you know, UXing it.
Yeah.
It's
for me, it's a mind outlet.
Yeah.
Versus a physical outlet.
But it's tactile as hell.
Oh, I love it. And then you're tasting it, and obviously you're sharing it with friends, and it obviously starts a conversation. But I cycle quite a bit. I've been running this month. I've committed to doing 300k on Strava. It's a challenge.
Yep.
So I'm up to 160, but running. So like, you know, there's a physical piece, but when it comes to mental, who kind of helps us with our mental health, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's quite cliche to say, you know, I'm just waiting for first crack. First crack?
Oh, is that what you're hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
right.
popcorn.
Okay, there we go. Oh, and look at the colour now.
Yeah. So this bean goes to 14%, 14.1%. Oh, sorry, 15.4% on the. So then I take it to 15.4%.
Yeah.
To get it to this profile, and then I drop it.
Right.
So that's first crack. And all our specialty coffees, or most specialty coffees, are light roasted, like very light to medium to keep the flavour. But that's what that sounds like. First crack.
And so that's the bean
Hopping.
Yeah, right. Releasing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's because it's like that because it's we're heating up the temperature in the bean.
Yeah.
That pop happens to be carbonized. It's a carbonized plus the water popping.
Yep.
So I'm just going to take it down. It's almost... So come and smell it now.
Yeah.
Smell that?
Ah, yeah, right.
Another level.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm just going to bring it down in temp now. And it's 15.4%. This is a much darker.
Yeah.
Like if you can see, that's a much darker bean.
Yeah.
And because it's all natural, it looks dark, but it doesn't taste dark.
Not as
it's
dark,
still,
yeah.
So I'm going to take it down a bit more. 15.4. Yeah, so like, being cliche around, mental health, like we go and see lawyers and accountants. Who do we go and see about, the brain? Like,
yeah.
And I'm going to drop it. We're done.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh my God, that looks amazing.
Go this way.
This is just cooling it.
Yeah, so to be able to preserve the flavour, you have to cool it really quickly.
Yeah.
So then that air is coming through here.
Yeah.
But smell the wine.
Yeah.
And this bean, you've got to get it to this type of darker level to actually get that profile. It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And no one really understands to actually cook coffee 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know, it's not anything on the timer. Like, it took no time at all.
So this coffee probably degasses. Like you'll taste the charcoal kind of carbonisation
at the beginning.
And then when you let it degas 7 days, 7 to 8 days with this particular coffee, it actually needs more time.
Okay.
And give it about a week, it will just be this beautiful grenache.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's extraordinary. So you can probably, you can pick it up now. But you can generally taste, even just the weight.
Yeah. It's a lot lighter, yeah?
A lot lighter, and then it's a longer bean. So if you can bite into it.
Oh, wow.
Get in a bit. Now. And this coffee, I take it to a place. You can taste it tastes a little bit burnt, but
No, there's definitely something there. You're right about that plum and wine.
Yeah, so hang on, let me get a lighter. Bit like a... I'm going to taste that one. So that went to 16%. I should have dropped it a little bit earlier. There you go. That's your.
That.
Hey.
I like that.
Yeah. Who teaches us how to find stuff to be able to ground ourselves?
Yeah, that's right.
like your parents should. You're a good parent.
Yeah.
You know, like when your kids are going through their shit, like what do you go for a swim or get off the PlayStation? They're like, no, Dad.
Yeah, I think this is something I'm going through at the moment, is trying to get my son to equate some of his mood with some of his bad behaviour. So in terms, when I say bad behaviour, I mean his tendency to spend too long on the device, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, he doesn't equate what he's consuming with him having, you know, a bad attitude or whatever, right? But I say it's not what you consume, it's how long you've been doing it, right? How long your brain has been sitting in that continuous short span feedback loop, so that when you have to then talk to your family, your brother, your mother, you're too short. And it's like, we don't understand why you're being so short. It's like, it's because you've been ramped up. And it's a really hard conversation, because to equate those two things, like my behavior and what I've been doing, I mean, I'm 50 and I've only kind of just started getting to it, right?
Mate,
but yeah, trying to have that conversation, like draw that alignment. And I just say, mate, when we start dropping the digital time, and I say, look, you've had your 2 hours, whatever, just get off it. What do I want to do? I'm like, it's not my problem to keep you entertained.
Yeah.
Go do something other than a screen. And he'll come back an hour later, just a completely different guy, right? And I'm just trying to get him to recognise that.
Because I guess our current devices have, you know, you can dial them in to tell you when you need to get off.
Yeah, so
that wouldn't work for a kid, would it?
It does, but then they just hack it and they override the parental stuff. So
and it should be based on trust, right? It should be based on, you know, trying to educate them on things they should be doing versus you know, and
you want to empower, right? So I can so my youngest definitely has the phone stops working basically after a certain time of night.
Yeah.
And he might be in the middle of something and he'll say, oh, I'm chatting with such and such, can you just give me 15? So you can finish the conversation, and I'll get a ping. And Apple's great at this. I'll just get a ping, and I can just go guarantee another 15 minutes.
Wow.
But I want them to start monitoring themselves, you know, and saying, I've been on long enough. But yeah.
That's it, man. Let's go and
I'm excited.
Let's go and cop this.